in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You have heard his voice in Hunter x Hunter. Star versus the forces of evil. This is the man you came to see, the man of the hour. Please give it up for Christopher Tergliafera!
Appreciate that. Thank you everyone for coming. I am extremely excited to be here. Great looking outfit. I'm very partial. No Riomas? No one ever dresses up like Rioma. But that's okay.
I wanted to ask you, how are you enjoying anime in Los Angeles? This is your first time. He's a first timer, everybody.
I am loving it. This has been, I did Anime California, which is a bit smaller, and then I did HentaiCon, which was a bit different for a role in a, has anyone seen Testament of the New Sister Devil? Or,
yeah.
Oh yeah?
It's a lie.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I was Belphegor, who was a demon in that, and this is not a 16+ panel, so anyway, don't watch it. But anyway, this is my biggest con I've been to, and everyone's been top notch. I'm here all weekend, and yeah, I've already seen my Dark Devas today, and yeah, it's going great.
So what was your life like before you got into this crazy noisy, bizarre world of voice acting?
That's actually a good, I don't know why I didn't expect good questions. I was actually an assistant. I'm not sure if anyone knows, has anyone seen Entourage? Entourage, Lloyd, what's he played by? Rex Lee? I could be butchering the name. This goes online and I butchered his name. He's a great actor. But he was the assistant to the agent there. I worked at a television development company, USA Network, and I answered phones for a living. So I was basically a glorified secretary. And I was that for 4 years. And then when I started getting into voiceover, I decided to quit my day job and then end up going right back to my day job. And I ended up being a temp, which basically meant I like to call it office mercenary, where you basically go to a different office each time and answer phones. But I was an assistant. And actually, I got into voiceover after people that were trying to butter up my boss would be like, he's got a great voice, you should go into voiceover. But I let that all go to my head. Yeah, but it takes a lot more than that. And I found that out the hard way. That's why I've been doing this for 11 years, and you've only known about me for about 3. So, anyway, yeah, that's why I was an assistant. I should just be like, I'm an assistant. Next question.
Now, you have done some of the biggest titles in anime, titles everybody knows. What would you say drew you to anime?
You know, I think everyone here, are you familiar with Bang Zoom, the localization company? They do a lot of anime work out here. And actually how I got into it was, Voice123 is a website where you can like kind of submit your demos and things like that. And they just had like an open call for auditions. And now they have like an entire competition out here. But 6 years ago, they just posted on Voice123 like, hey, send us your demo. And then, you know, I sent in the commercial demo. And then they started sending me auditions. And one of them was for Little Big Planet karting. Does anyone here play Little Big Planet? Okay. Well, those, you know they don't speak a real language. Each time you're reading it, it's all this like kind of like blah, 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 blah. I auditioned for something called Sirius Oculus, and he was kind of this jazzy one, and you kind of had to just make a bunch of like different like jazzy noises, and that was my first voiceover gig. And then, which is actually my hardest job to date because you had to make up your own language. They were like basically the things of like you're welcoming sock. Wait, I'm sorry, butchering him. Who in Little Big Planet? Who is it? Is it Sock Puppet or? Sackboy, yes. Oh gosh.
It's many sleepless nights playing Little Big Planet.
Okay, I love Little Big Planet. I was just like, what was he called? I know what he looked like, and I know how to control him. But they were basically like, you know, here are the things like, you know, sack boy, glad you're here, all that, but you had to make up your own language. And I don't know if you actually, who wants to be put on the spot right now? I'm gonna put both. No. If someone didn't raise their hand, they don't have. But who played Little Big Planet? Okay. You two. You two, I'm gonna put on the spot. One person that played Little Big Planet and one person that did not. And then Marcel, can you give us a line of dialogue?
Okay. I don't know. Let's go to the ice cream shop.
Perfect. I want you to both say that in a made-up language. Let's go to the ice cream shop in a made-up language. You first, since you played Little Big Planet.
Just say, I don't remember a lot. I just remember hearing like a bunch of, like, not mowing noises, but just like a little...
Yeah, it is. It's a lot. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't have to like, it doesn't have to sound like it doesn't have to sound like Spanish or English.
I just remember a lot of noise.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. And you're basically given a line, let's go to the ice cream shop, and do it in a Little Big Planet voice. Good! Yeah. It's great. But the note I got was, whenever I was doing mine, where it was like I was going mumble, because I had that was a great mumble voice. I was doing like mumble, and it's like you're using a lot of mums, and we're gonna need to differentiate it. And I was like, and I don't know if you're like, actually you're a lot better than this than I am. Like you could have done it. Oh wait, let's go to the ice cream shop. I don't want to leave you out.
You ready for that?
Mm-hmm. I am. Excellent.
Give us some applause. That was great.
And they would be like, hey, could you not do so many bubbles? And then anyway, I'm like, because I did the same thing you did. I was like, mama, and then anyway, I wrote out, I was like, go ha here, go hoo here, go ho here. And like, you basically had to write it out, and it was the most difficult job. How'd I get into anime? Let's circle it all back around. They sent out the auditions for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, for Dio, for Kakui, was Bad Fit, and then Apple. And they sent it, and I didn't know anything about it. I knew nothing about it, and I do the day job of Megatron. If you look at those viral clips of the Universal Studios, like puppet that like insults people at Universal Studios, I do the voice of Megatron there. And I came into the office, I like to call it the bunker, and somebody there, I was like, yeah, I'm in something called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and they just, what? And then her name's Emma Bowers, and she just like completely turned me on to the world of anime, and then it just kind of kept rolling from there.
That's awesome.
I'm being very long-winded with all the questions.
No, see, this is what we want.
Yeah.
This is a good panel.
I'm also addicted to soda water, so.
All right, so video games. You've done a lot of extensive work in video games. Did you get into doing voiceover work for those in the same way, or was it a little different than that?
Video games I grew up on. Final Fantasy VIII is my favorite game. I played the JRPGs of Final Fantasy, well I guess out here they were, when we were growing up, it was Final Fantasy II and Final Fantasy III, because it was for the SNES, but I believe they're 4 and 6. Yeah. I grew up on that. Final Fantasy IV was probably my favorite JRPG, and I was just a gamer growing up, so being able to, yeah, I mean, I even like the original Resident Evil. The Jill, the master of unlocking.
Could you say any of Barry's lines in your voice?
You were nearly a Jill sandwich. No, I remember. I will say this: did anyone grow up with the first Resident Evil? When that dog went through that window, all bets were off. That was the beginning of survival horror. Was when the dog came through the window. It was like, you pause and it's like, that shouldn't happen. Like, this should not be allowed in life, especially not in video games where I'm safe. And then you're like, and also another thing Resident Evil did that was mean was the ink cartridges to save. Because I'm usually, if like, okay, let's say we're in a game where anything bad can happen. I'm quick saving each time, don't worry. But like this made it choose when to save. So it was like, I just killed one zombie. I would usually be like, go back and save, kill one more zombie, go back and save. Instead it was like, oh man, I get limited amount of saves. So anyway, I grew up as a gamer. With all these things, I'll just kind of lead into Sigma. Is that what,
yeah, let's go into Sigma.
Okay, because that was my first fighting game. And that's actually the only character that is player controlled by me. Did anyone play Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite? Okay. All right, cool. The main thing I wanted was, did anyone here, I'm not in these, but did anyone play Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or, okay, everyone's played fighting games when they were growing up. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite unfortunately flopped.
Which is a travesty. Never should have.
Thank you. I was the main villain in that. I really thought, whenever I came in, I thought like, oh, this is going to be the next Mega Man game. And they're like, no, this is Marvel vs. Capcom. And you are the big bad. And this is a big story mode. And I was like, what's a big deal? And they're like, it is a big deal. We're trusting you with this. It's a 3-day record. And then like, whenever I was going around Los Angeles, I was seeing my character up everywhere. I was like, this is like maybe about 2 or 3 years ago. And I was thinking, it was like, I was going through, driving my car, and I was seeing my character up, and I was like, well, this is it, Chris. You're gonna be a big effing deal after this. And boy, did it come out and flop. And it was just like, whoa. I mean, I remember my girlfriend at the time, I just saw like the reviews pouring in and the negative things, and she just came up to me and she was just like, I'm sorry. I was like, I am too.
One thing I do have to say, if you haven't played Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, you really should, because your voice, and one of the things I know is you have such a great voice. You use it mainly for a lot of the characters that you do. When you did Sigma, it was perfect. It was worth the price of admission alone, and I think MVCI is a great game. And really, if you haven't played it, you absolutely should get it, just so you can hear Chris's performance. It's outstanding.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Stephan. One of the things, going back to the fighting games, was I never liked it in fighting games where, let's say, you strike someone and it sounds like someone's like, ha-ha, let me bring you over here. I like Scorpions, get over here. Like that's, and whenever I went into it, and Sigma was so aggro, it took a lot out of me. It was one of the most strenuous records, but I remember telling the director, I was like, I don't want to sound like I'm fighting someone at every turn. I don't want there to be any, let me throw my beams at you. It's like, it's like, tremble in terror! Like, I just wanted each thing to just be dripping with aggro animosity. Because that's how Sigma was in it. He was just crazed, and I was like, I don't want to let up on any of these lines and have it to where someone that's not playing as me, like, doesn't feel like they're actually fighting someone. And I'll probably never go as over the top or as aggro as Sigma does, but I was like, honestly, at that point, I was like, I'm never going to do it again. It's never going to be on record again, because you need some more, like, kind of like levels for a character, because it's not interesting to shout all the time. I was like, with Sigma, I'm just doing that. So.
Well, let's talk Gundam Tanaka.
Infinity Flame. Wait, Unlimited Infinity Flame. It is, Gundam was one of my first roles. And I love Gundam to death. Like, it is. One of the things that Joe Ochman, I'm not sure if any of y'all know him. Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. I love Joe. And I never even really thought of this, but he gave me the biggest compliment. He was like, the one thing about you is you love your characters. You love them to death. And it was something that Don LaFontaine, he was the In a World trailer guy. And they said, like, how can you hype up movies that aren't any good? And he was like, well, it's somebody's favorite movie. And whenever I was thinking about that, I went into every character. It's like, this is going to be somebody's favorite character, even if it's not. Gundam is popular. And I remember whenever they were giving me the direction, first of all, I didn't audition for Gundam. They gave that to me. They were like, I felt bad because they were like, yeah, this guy doesn't really have any social skills, and he doesn't care about what other people think about him, and he's just loud and bombastic. We thought of you. And I was like, well, thanks. That's cool. And they were like, and honestly, you're not responding, because in most things, in most voice acting, you're responding to someone. Gundam does not. Gundam talks for himself. Every word is just so Gundam can hear himself talk, and it's just, he really believes in himself. And that's one of the things I really loved about Gundam. There were a lot of things I loved about Gundam. I liked his kindness towards animals. I liked his disdain towards others. He was just, everything just was dripping. And even, oh gosh, I had never seen his death scene until about 3 weeks ago. And I cried. I literally, whenever the day was, the one thing I really love about, sorry, I'm just kind of tearing up right now, just thinking about it. The one thing about that, because the people were like, I cried when Gundam died. I was like, why do you voice the death scene? So I'm not watching, and I tried to play it. I am going to play the game. I've seen all the clips, I've seen playthroughs of it. But I was just like, whenever I was going through, I was like, this is too much external stimuli. But I know all the voice clips and I know all the stories with it. Like, I'm friends with Natalie Hoover, we talk about like going on tour with this stuff. But I never watched his death scene because I was never in it. And then when I saw it, it was just the one thing I really, Gundam thought he had powers the entire time. And I think he did to a certain extent. He thought that would save him at the end. Ultimately, it didn't, but he knew that he was going to be okay. And that was the one thing that, thing that killed me was he was going to be fine. I didn't feel bad for Gundam. It was whenever the Dark Davids came up and they had that sad look in their face, like he was going away, that was just, I don't know, it was heartbreaking to me. Like, I hate thinking about it. I like being happy, so. Anyway, yeah. And, but also I just liked, with Gundam, I don't know, he was just so confident and full of himself, and he was just, everything was dripping. So anyway, that's my talk on Gundam.
So we've got a Gundam in the audience that is the best.
It's perfect. This is literally the best Gundam I've ever seen.
Please stand up.
Stand up.
You deserve to show off.
Yes.
Please give Gundam some outdoor round of applause. All right. Well, I'd like to talk a little bit, loop back around to some of your anime works. When I interviewed you initially, and for those of you who don't know, my name is Stephan Alexander. I'm an interviewer. You can find me at 9 Questions with Stephan.
He's great. I just absolutely had to have him. Yeah, he asked me, and I will give one little thing for you going into this one. And this is kind of a little anecdote about how you can influence people's lives. He interviewed me for something. I was very honored. I'd never been interviewed for anything in my entire life. He interviewed me, and then he posted it, and he said, renowned voice actor. I know you put that for everybody. I've seen the other ones. But anyway, one girl on my Facebook said, I quit reading after the word renowned. And I am not one, if you ever write a mean comment about me, I'm one to be like, and I just take it, and I never respond back. But it hurts my feelings. But I'm never one to be like, whoa, well, you're just whatever, you know. I respond to the nice comments and I ignore the rest, or I don't respond to them. But then you came up, and it was kind of like the way it made. This is such a small scale thing, but it was kind of the same way in Lord of the Rings, whenever some Boromir talks about. Who was it? Oh gosh, I'm blanking out. The king.
Oh, yes.
Oh, wait. The ranger. Oh gosh. Aragorn. You know, I could think of every other title he's been called except Aragorn. Yeah, exactly.
Have a candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when Aragorn, whenever he said, he's like, he's the one, you came on and you listed my titles, and he's like, if that's not renowned, I don't know what is. And it made me feel like I was 10 feet tall. It's like, well, thanks. At least one person thought that. Anyway, yeah, so thank you. I appreciate that, and it's always stuck with me, and it's always made me feel important.
Thank you, really. And what I wanted to do when I did first interview you, and that's what I wanted to lead into this, I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And if you know me, you'll know it's one of my favorite anime of all time. I love the manga. And Muhammad Abdul, Chris's character on the show, is such a great character. And you portray him so excellently well. And when I was doing my initial interviews, I looked up people from shows that I liked. So I said, who's Abdul? And I looked you up. And I said, this guy's amazing. I gotta talk to him. I gotta, and then I learned more about you. I learned about Gundam Tanaka and how you do Silva Zoldyck. And what I just wanted to lead into was, when I interviewed you, you were telling me just how you became a fan of what you do, how you do just now love Hunter x Hunter, and you watch JoJo. And what is it like to be a fan of the work that you do? And that's something I can relate to, because I'm a fan of the work that I do.
It's something where, yeah, no, exactly. It's something to where if you're doing something, you need to know about it, and you got to realize why people care about it. So the biggest, I'm a big Transformers person. Megatron's paid my bills for 5 or 6 years. I've been doing full-time Megatron at Universal. And one of the biggest insults I heard, and this could be by an athlete or an actor, but Hugo Weaving was talking, and he got replaced by the immaculate Frank. Y'all know Frank Welker? He is the Megatron in G1. He's Fred from Scooby-Doo, and he's everything. Frank Welker is the god of voice acting. If you look at Frank Welker, you're like, oh gosh, I know one of these 976 credits. But Hugo Weaving said this about Megatron. He's like, people ask me about it, but it was an hour and a half in the booth, and I don't care about it. And that stung me. I hated it. Because it's like, if people care about something, I should care about it too. Otherwise, it's the biggest insult. It's just like whenever an athlete says, I stopped trying out there and I don't really care. It's like, well, we're paying you to do this. You should care. And so anytime I'm getting paid to do something, even if it's like something like Sword Guy, which is, did anyone here watch Sword Guy? It's on Netflix. Listen, I ask this at every panel, and no one's ever said yes. It's on Netflix. I played a character named Grims, who I really liked because he was very easy to dub because his mouth didn't move. It was just a permanent demon face, which is very easy because you have to match the mouth flaps. But I even watched Sword Guy, like trying to be like, what is this? I mean, it's really confusing, and it's not my cup of tea. But the fact is, I try really hard on all those things. And just like with any anime I'm in, I've learned as much. I haven't been able to watch the entire series of Hunter x Hunter. It's a big, big, big universe. It's huge.
120 something?
Yes, it's a lot. It's and I'm trying to learn about all these things that I'm getting brought into on the weekly. But to become a fan of it, it's humbling. It's cool that like there are conventions where people, like even if just, first off, by the way, everyone here, I'm honored. I'm flat out honored that you showed up to sit in the seat and talk. I honestly, like, this makes me feel great, and we'll get to questions from y'all. Like I can't tell you how amazing all of this, like, even, you know, I know everyone can't dress up like Gundam. I mean, obviously there's somebody here that's a big winner. But I mean, there are other characters that, like, you know, to have any sort of resonance, and it's not just because of me, it's because of the character design, it's because of the dialogue that was written, but to have any part of it, it's humbling. It's all humbling.
It's awesome. And, you know, building on what you said about how you feel it's important for an actor or an actress to know their work, to know what they do, that is one of the things that's most important to me. And one of the things I really enjoyed when I interviewed you, when you told me you were a fan. Because I've spoken to people who have basically admitted they haven't seen anything they've done or performed in since they did the recording of it. And I love that about you, that you make it a point to go out and make sure you know what you're getting into. And that's just, I wanted to build on that.
Oh, thanks.
But if I had another question, I'd love to ask you, when it comes to video games and anime, is there a notable difference?
Yes. Are there any aspiring voice actors out there? Oh, wow, okay, great. Okay, cool. I can talk to all of you. Anime is it's a very different type of acting because everything's already done for you. It's like we had a scene where you had to deliver news to Stephan that his grandpa died. I know, I'm sorry. But it happened. But anyway, I was like, no one's gonna buy it because your beautiful parents are right out there. It's like, you're gonna be like, no, they're not, they're fine. But anyway, for the sake of the argument, everything's already done in anime. Like me walking, going up and putting my hand on your shoulder, and the words I'm gonna say, and the timing is already done. So you have to just match that. So you don't get to bring a whole lot of yourself to it. There was somebody that played Goku. I was in an acting class with, and he said, "Anime isn't acting."
What?
Good, no one's filming. I'm not gonna say which one. But anyway, it is. It's just a different style. But it's a very different. It's a different form of acting. It's a very specific skill. One where you need to be able to talk and not do that. Otherwise, they're gonna be like, "Chris, get specific right." And especially one where you have to get the Japanese pronunciations well, where it's like, you'll go through and it's like, Kazuki will rendezvous with you at this point. It's like, well, you say Kazuki. It's like, okay. And they're like, no, it's Kazuki. It's like, okay. And honestly, it's fine if it's at the beginning of a thing, but let's say you're going through about 15 seconds of dialogue and then you get to this hitch where you have to say like Kazuki and like another Japanese name where it's not just saying the name, it's just hitting the right inflection on it. Because that's very important. Otherwise, it's a completely different name. But it's a very different skill. But, yeah.
It's a great answer. And I wanted to ask, I think we're got about 15 more minutes before we open up the audience for questions. But do you have any juicy tales from the recording booth?
Juicy tales from the recording booth. Let's see. What do y'all want to? Why are y'all here? Do y'all even know who I am? Like, oh my.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Thanks. What's something y'all want to know about as far as juicy tale? Let me think. Okay, I will say one thing. And I'm not going to name the director's name.
We'll get to you in just a second.
Okay.
But I see you. Got memory like steel trap.
There is, we were, did anyone see the original Aiko dub? A-I-C-O. It's fun. Did anyone see the new dub? It's a murderer's row. It's a Harlecker. It's everybody. It's like literally, I'm so honored to be a part of it. It was Billy Cometz, Xanthi's in it. But anyway, they basically had a dub that was so bad on Netflix that they, it harkened back. I sometimes go to Reddit anime dubs, and one of the things they said was, like, this makes me remember when dubs were bad. And anyway, basically what happened was they cheaped out. They went to some studio in Florida and did this dub. And everything from the translation to the performance was awful. So they did this rush job of Aiko. I was going through the most depressed time in my life. But I was going into Aiko every day. And I remember Emma was this, she was, basically like, do you have anything to get you up in the morning? I was like, well, I gotta go record Aiko. So anyway, Aiko has a special place in my heart. But one of the things, what takes juicy tales from the recording booth. The director on that, you can look him up or whatever, but he's one of my favorite directors. I'm not gonna give his name out. But we would get done with a piece of recording. I don't know why she's here. And look, let me think of it. Let me get this exactly right. Yeah, they came here, and we're not sure why. Done, hit. Who's they? Who the hell is they? Hold on 1 second, I gotta rewrite this. And who are you talking about? I was like, I don't know. And then I nearly said his name. And he's like, I don't know either, hold on. And then anyway, I'm just sitting down, eating my green apple. But it was a constant thing in the recording booth of him rewriting. And like, he would be like, what the F are you talking about? I'm trying to keep everything clean. But he was just so fouled out the entire time about rewriting the entire thing. And that's he's one of my favorite directors to work with.
And this is kind of an interesting tidbit, but I find it incredibly fascinating nonetheless. Just a few days ago, you shared an interview because you were actually interviewed by ZMP about how to protect your beautiful voice.
Yeah.
What can you share about that?
First off,
And something about cucumbers.
Look, if you're gonna do that, so, this isn't related to voice acting. But let's say you're going through the desert. Do you know how much? Have you ever juiced a cucumber? Put one of these through a juicer. You're going to be amazed how much water comes out. You keep 2 cucumbers with you marching through the desert, you're going to stay hydrated. It's amazing. Always keep a cucumber with you. So that's just good advice.
That's advice.
Anyway, but anyway.
Tergliafera's education.
Yeah, edutainment. Yeah, with that, I had a friend from college who just works for WebMD. She's like, I know you use your voice, and they asked for something about protecting your voice during a session, and I've had to do, Sigma was a lot of yelling, but I was also in, there's a PS4 title that's coming out where I'm basically a zombie, and I yell a whole lot. God of War, had to yell a whole lot. And it's these things where they're just like, you're dying in all sorts of ways. Like Kratos was burning me alive. Kratos was chopping off my head, and he was judging me. And it was the Chinese syrup that I'm not even gonna, do you know the name of it?
Oh gosh.
Nimjin.
I saw it too. I wrote it, I wanted to write it.
Magic Chinese throat syrup. But anyway, that's how you protect your voice during those things.
All right, we still got, I jumped the gun 15 minutes. I appreciate this.
Okay, cool. Well, do we want to open them up?
What do you say? You want to open it up? Everybody has a question. Everybody gets a piece of candy. So even if you don't know this man's works, this is a rare opportunity to talk to a professional voice actor.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with you.
So, you played both Gundam and Ryoma. How are those different? How are those differentiated?
That's great. Gundam was very bombastic.
And I'm going to record a Ryoma when you speak with my friend. He couldn't make it, so.
Okay, yeah. Gundam was very bombastic. He was very confident. Everyone's living in his world. And that's really all that matters to him. Ryoma, he already knew he was dead. He knew it from the second he was in there. He was a hired assassin. He was a guy that was a tennis pro. He'd been up at the top, and now he was down at the bottom. He knew he was going to die. So that was the difference between those two. It was very, because Ryoma he was so small, but he was so deep. But I just love that he got a ways to go. I love that quote from him. And then Gundam, I can talk Gundam all day. One of the things on Twitter is people will be like, I feel like you like Gundam a lot more than Ryoma. And that's not true. Ryoma was just, the thing is, Gundam wants to live and thinks he's better than everyone. He's such a domineering character, so much more fun to be Gundam. As opposed to Ryoma, who, it's a different one, but you don't want to live in Ryoma's world that much. I mean, he's just, but the one thing that I love about both the characters, besides the fact that they both had fantastic voices, was the local animals. And that was the one trait between them. And I was like, that's the common thing with that. Whereas you had Gundam, who Oh man, and I love Gundam's in speech whenever he's talking to his Davis, and he's like, "Are you worried about me? No, in this world, I'm a temporary visitor, just coming down." It was almost like, it was just like, no, this is not my end goal here. And then Ryoma, on the other hand, was just like, I'm gonna die. He died pretty early too. I mean, you didn't get to know Ryoma that well. So like, I think that's another thing, is like, you got to live with Gundam. Gundam had this thing with Sonya, and I love talking to Natalie about that, and then you got Soda on the side. It was just like, he's just no Gundam. I mean, there's always like a love triangle where there's just one person that's just a lot better. Like, I mean, I had a picture with Gundam and Soda today, but like, it's always Gundam. Yeah, but anyway, that was the difference between the characters.
Do you mind saying a short line for Yoda? Just
Yeah.
Thank you for the question. Want some Japanese candy? Okay, well, here. You. Oh yeah, you get two.
oh,
I'm not a sports guy. I'm not a sports guy. Yes, you.
So my question, it does need a little bit of your imagination. Did you ever like sit in your living room doing voice acting for any other characters? Like, is there any character that you were like, man, I would pay big money to voice this guy right now?
That's an excellent question. No. There's some auditions I've done. My wonderful girlfriend, Brittany, is right there. She's helped me out with a lot of them, and there are different roles that I thought I would be right for, but, and someone's asked me about that, and things in the past, because I enjoy the past performances, and I want to do something new. There are, the type of role I want to be, and I will say this, I want to play a motion capture role, because like, all those things in the past, like, you asked, like, there's things I fantasize about.
Yeah.
Like, there's old roles. I don't really fantasize about the old ones, it's about the new ones. So it's like, and I still fantasize, but it's like, I want to have a role. I want to have a player, because I really like Mass Effect. I kind of, oh gosh, I mean, I love the voice acting in that, but I was like, I want to have a Rex moment where at the end of it, you come up to your player. I don't want to be the main character. The main character's voice is kind of always boring. I'm sorry, it just always is, because you have to like be like, I'm mean this time. I'm renegade. No, I'm kind of nice this time. And it's like you're not really a hurt. You're just like someone else's, marionette. But with that, I love that scene where I only played it through once because I never like go through a second time. It's like, no, that was my decisions, and I live with it. I used to be like, what gets me the most, and this is not Mass Effect because it wasn't gold, it's like, what gets me the most gold and the most XP and the best outcome? And I would always spoil it. I was like, no, play it through like myself. And let's just do that, and let's actually have a real game, what the developers intended. So I liked it whenever I got through, and there was that one moment where he's like, if you had aided the Krogan, he's like, no matter what happens, we're brothers, and you aided the Krogan, you'll always be a friend to me. I was like, oh, I want that. And also, if I can't be that, I want, good to see you, Andrew.
Good to see you too.
I want that, if I don't get that in a minor role, I want it to be like, you go on, I'll hold them off. And then the guy dies.